So you want a Christian homeschool curriculum, but you don't know what to pick because there is so much variety. Well, in this video, I'm going to demonstrate different homeschool curriculum using cars. And the reason I'm going to do this is that I've realized Hot Wheels and other cars like this come in an incredible variety, just like Christian homeschool curriculum. We'll start with number 10 and then go down to number 1. So make sure you stick with me to the end. Let's start with Life Pack. Now I've used this interesting Sodor Mail carriage to demonstrate what Life Pack is. Life Pack is a Christian homeschool curriculum, but it is mastery based. It is student driven, and so the student has to drive the learning, otherwise the learning won't happen. When the learning happens, then you can move on. Life Pack is written by Alpha Omega Publications. They also produce Horizons, which is teacher-led, Weaver, which is a unit studies curriculum, and Monarch, which is one of the more popular online homeschool curriculum around today. So number 10 is Life Pack. Number 9 is Simply Charlotte Mason, and I've used this interesting off-road vehicle to illustrate Charlotte Mason, and that's because when I think of Charlotte Mason, I think of nature study. Typically when we think about curriculum, we think of a curriculum where a child gets a box in the mail, we sit them down, they do the work, and then you move on and do more interesting things after that. But the Charlotte Mason homeschooling method, and I'll put a link for that in the description box below, that was a method where children learned a lot about nature and it taught them about living. It was a method developed by a Christian lady specifically for the homeschooling situation. Now that's unusual because a lot of the other educational methods aren't like that. With Simply Charlotte Mason, you will get a planner to plan out your curriculum for the year. You'll also get other books which show you how to do things like picture study, nature study, history study, and so on. You get a book list and you can choose what books you want to buy from that book list. So it's a little bit eclectic like that. All right, and in 8th place we have Konos, and I am using this interesting crane to exhibit Konos, and that is because you typically think of a fire engine as being pretty hands-on. Well, at least the firemen are. That is, you don't just learn by sitting down and doing paperwork, you learn through your hands. And this is a great option if you have wiggly worms, children who don't want to just sit down and do work like other children do. It follows the unit study methodology as well. And if you have children who are of the same age or a similar age, you can teach them together. For example, a 5-year-old will probably be able to learn the same thing as a 6-year-old. I love the unit studies method and I'm going to do a video on it pretty shortly, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Next, we have Easy Peasy, and I just love Easy Peasy as well. I love a lot of them, don't I? But I like this one because it's free. Isn't that amazing? A lovely Christian lady did her curriculum with her children. She thought, great, I want to share this with other people. So she made the whole curriculum available for free. How amazing is that? Now this curriculum gets great reviews online as well. And because it's gone so well, she's invested in making a free planning system as well. So as your children do the different subjects and the different electives, you can also track this in their Easy Peasy planning system. It's called My EP Assignments. Easy Peasy can be a great curriculum to use if you don't have loads of money, or perhaps you're just homeschooling short term and you don't want to buy a big curriculum for lots of money to get you through a short period. To help develop the curriculum, you can also donate to Lee Giles, who is the creator of this course. So that would be lovely if you could do that, and that will help her increase the curriculum volume and make the curriculum better. All right, so that is number 7, and after number 7 comes number 6, and I have exhibited that with this cutesy little helicopter. And this helicopter is great because again, it's a Charlotte Mason curriculum, but this one, it's free. Basically what has happened is Charlotte Mason herself had a lot of material which has been used on this website, and then there have been a lot of dedicated mothers again and parents who have donated their time and their money to develop this curriculum online. What you'll actually find with a lot of the modern day Charlotte homeschool curriculum method is that they take off a lot of the material from Ambleside Online anyway. Perhaps one downside with a free curriculum is that you don't get a lot of the beautiful books and a lot of the beautiful material you would get if you bought a curriculum. But hey, it's free, so you can't really complain. Again, this is the Charlotte Mason method, so it's a lot of it is about nature study, and then there's a lot of habit training which will go on. There's a lot of picture study, art study, music study, and so many more things. Now, don't forget, Charlotte Mason herself was a classical educator, so you'll find a lot of classical elements in a Charlotte Mason curriculum every time you look at it or use it. Before we get on to number 5, I'd like to tell you about my homeschool parenting program. This is a program for new homeschool parents just like you, and you can join this program and it will show you how to homeschool stress-free. You'll skip a lot of the steps that new homeschool parents take ages to figure out themselves, and you'll love it because it's really entertaining. Right, number 5 is Memoria Press, and I like to exhibit it with this car, and that's because Memoria Press is a classical curriculum. The classical method was developed in antiquity, so in a way it is quite old. It was the method of learning, for example, that the ancient Greeks used and the people in Charles Dickens' time used. Charlotte Mason thought the classical method was perhaps a little bit rigid and some of the corners needed to be knocked off it. But a lot of classical educators think it is just fine, and everything in a classical education is usually there for a reason. Some hallmarks of classical education are learning Latin, debating, learning logic, and scholae, which is contemplation. The idea is that children spend a lot of time doing critical thinking and really thinking about the concepts in society. The idea is that children do a lot of thinking and start to really critically analyze a lot of the things happening around them. For example, the reason they learn Latin is so they can use their words well. They also learn logic so they can read a magazine article and figure out what's rubbish and what's not. So I think there's a lot of neat things about the classical education method and about Memoria Press. And by the way, the links to this curricula can all be found down below. Next we have number 4, which is My Father's World. And I've exhibited My Father's World with this funky looking off-road car. It's quite eclectic, right? Well, that's because the My Father's World curriculum is an eclectic homeschool curriculum. That is, it uses thoughts from different homeschooling methods such as the classical method, the Charlotte Mason method, the unit studies method. It also has a biblical worldview which will tick an awful lot of boxes for an awful lot of parents. My Father's World gets great reviews, and basically it's a curriculum that they chuck a whole lot of stuff in a box and you get it to your door. There's a lot of craft involved in this curriculum, which will be a big yes for a lot of parents and a big I'm not sure about this for a lot of other parents. Keep in mind there is a lot of craft in this curriculum. That will please a lot of parents, but a lot of other parents will say, no, I don't want that. And then there is Masterbooks. Masterbooks is a great curriculum and gets incredible reviews, and I'm going to use this car to demonstrate with it. That is because it is a reliable vehicle that will get you from A to B effectively. It's a Christian program and also gets great reviews. It has video lessons that are engaging and typically quite short. So if you have children with a shorter attention span, this will fit the bill. Okay, and now there is number 2. And I'm going to exhibit number 2 with a van. And that is because we're talking about Schoolhouse Teachers, which is a program where you get an awful lot for your money. So let's say you've just started to homeschool and you're thinking, I just want a normal curriculum. Well, Schoolhouse Teachers have that with their open and go boxes. Any grade you like, plus preschool and kindy. Let's say you're into Charlotte Mason and you want to look into that. Well, they have a Charlotte Mason Centre. Let's say you like unit studies. They have a unit studies centre. Let's say you have older children and you want to explore the college options. They have that too. Let's say you're not sure what to do with planning. Well, they have lots of planning resources you can print and use, and they explain how to use it. Let's say you want to learn logic, debating, French, Latin. You can do that all with Schoolhouse Teachers. And the best part is that it's available on one subscription fee. So it doesn't matter how many children you have, you get it all for one price. And the great thing about Schoolhouse Teachers is they have sales all the time, and so you can usually get it for half price. I really love Schoolhouse Teachers, as you can probably tell. But another curriculum that I use Schoolhouse Teachers. I also use BJU Press, which is number 1. And I'm going to tell you why I like BJU Press. And that is because it is a nice curriculum. curriculum. It is just high quality. And so I've used this nifty little sports car to exhibit it. BJU gives you choices. That is, you can teach the curriculum yourself with very clear and thorough teachers' manuals, or you can get video lessons online and have the video teachers teach it to your children instead. They give you loads of high quality material you can do with your children. And while it is a traditional curriculum, there are lots of hands-on elements, so it's not boring. I also love the thought of getting a box to my door and I just open it and go. Now, if during this video you've been a bit confused about each homeschooling method and want to learn more, then you can do that by clicking on this homeschool curriculum video right here.